Welcome to the 10-Minute Treasurer. My name is Jeff Pospisil. And in this video, I'm just going to give you an overview of what apportionments are like in the Global Methodist denomination. For those churches that are thinking of moving over or have already moved over, this is going to walk you through how are they calculated, what's the amount going to be, and also even how you would actually pay those in if you had to pay those in. All right, so let's get to it. I know there's probably one or two of you that are watching this that are saying it's not called apportionments in the Global Methodist world. And I know, but many of us are coming from the United Methodist world where it was called apportionments or maybe ministry shares, something like that. In the Global Methodist world, it is called connectional funding. So apportionments has become connectional funding. Probably a different connotation with that, and hopefully makes a break from the old system from those of us that are coming from the United Methodist world. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go and show you how connectional funding is actually defined. So I'm going to go to the Transitional Book of Doctrines and Discipline, and that's on the Global Methodist website. So if you go to the menu then and click the three lines, there it is, Transitional Book of Doctrines and Discipline. I hope you have that website bookmarked. It's very useful. I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. And this is one of the coolest parts of this website is the Book of Discipline. You just start typing in whatever you want and it starts filtering it. So I typed in connectional funding and local church, and it's this paragraph 349 is what it is. Local church funding, connectional funding. And the long story short is it's a percentage of whatever your church's operating income was for last year. So it's a percentage of whatever your operating income was for last year. And this is something you're going to calculate yourself. And so what they do is then they start defining what exactly is operating income and what isn't. And long story short, it's basically those undesignated gifts that people throw in the offering plate. That's for the most part. I do have a cheat sheet that I developed for the Dakotas UMC. They had a very similar formula, and so I'm going to share that with you. I tried to remove most of the United Methodist language out of it, but if there's still any in there, I guess it is what it is. And I'll also give you an Excel calculator that'll also help you calculate it. And one of the things also to keep in mind is that once you calculate it, let me see, I'm going to scroll on down, is that you are expected to remit each month 1/12 of that. So let's just say your apportionment is $1,200. That means you would pay $100 a month. Probably some of us, that's quite a bit cheaper than what we're used to. And maybe you want to save a stamp and a check and just pay quarterly or annually. I don't think there'd be too many complaints about that. All right, let's go ahead and look at that cheat sheet. All right, I'm going to go through this pretty quick. This is my cheat sheet, and it's going to be linked in the description. So if you want to read it closer, go there. And again, I might be off on some of these because this is for the Dakotas UMC, but it'll be pretty close to what I'd say the Global Methodist would expect. The main thing is it's undesignated offerings into the offering plate, or things that are designated for things in the general budget. So maybe it's for something like utilities. If somebody writes a check for the propane, that would normally be in the operating budget. So I would include that when I calculate connectional funding. The other thing too is if somebody gives a non-cash gift, I would wait until it's sold before I pay anything for connectional funding on that, because you just don't have the cash available yet. There are a lot of items on the do not include one, memorials and bequests. I would also include there endowment income. So even if it's undesignated, I always kind of think of it as new money versus old money. And that was for people that we had served in the past. And now the new money is from, people we're currently serving. All right, let me see. For investment income, if it's interest that's going right into the general fund that you're actually using to spend that way. When I look at sale of church assets, that doesn't happen that often. Yeah, that just doesn't happen that often, so I'm not really going to talk about that one. Building use and rental fees. What I normally said is if the fee is to cover our increased expenses, so maybe you have to pay somebody extra to do setup and cleanup, then I wouldn't include that income. But if it's actually a moneymaker for your church, then I would include it. Another thing too is if you're renting out your parsonage, if you're using that money just to help care for the parsonage, maybe it is to build up an emergency fund in case you need a big work on the parsonage, don't include it. But if it's a moneymaker, go ahead and include the net amount. Same thing with fundraisers. Include the net amount if it's for the operating budget. So you have a turkey dinner to raise money for the budget, the total amount minus the expenses for the turkey, I guess. And if you have a ministry like a daycare too, that would be the net amount as well. So that's the kind of the tricky part. Just include the net amount when you're looking at the fundraisers. I'm going to show you my calculator right now, and I'm just going to make up fake numbers. So my undesignated tithes, gifts, and offering, let's say it was $54,000. I would include that there. And then if I had undesignated interest and dividends, so this is the money that I actually received, $1,000. Also, if you had gains on something that I should have included that too. Gains on investments where it's used for the operating budget, I would include that too. Building and use fees, $500. Nothing for sale of church assets, and maybe we had our net income from fundraisers, $7,200. That gets us to a total of $62,700. The current apportionment percentage is 2% for the next couple of years. And what we do is that's $1,254 total, and I had apportionments in there, so I'm going to quick change that. But when we look at our monthly contribution, then we just divide that by 12, and it's $104.50 is what we are going to be contributing each month for that. All right, hopefully that made sense, and just a handy little calculator. Hopefully it helps you. And the last one here is how you actually pay your connectional funding. So I'm back at the website. So again, bookmark this website, go to the lines over there, click the giving one. Let me see, it kind of froze up on me for a second. There we go, online giving, and I will zoom in again. And if you scroll down, there's some pertinent information there. If you want to set it up as a monthly gift, you just click monthly and my other, and I already forgot what the amount was, $104 and threw in 27 cents. I don't think I'm right there. One of the things is you can only pay by credit card here. So if you're going to give electronically, it's by credit card, and they're going to add in this extra fee, but you can choose connectional funding. So I guess it is what it is. And then it's got to be the person's name on the credit card. And I'm not a super big fan about this. I hope they set it up so that churches can do an ACH and it'll be cheaper. But the other thing you can do is you can send a check in, and you can send a check right there. That's the address, Global Methodist Church at 11905 Bowman Drive in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And that'll work too. So I expect this to get a little bit more user friendly as we go on. And the Global Methodist denomination is almost a year old. It'll be a year old on May 1st. So probably need to be patient. All right, that brings us to the end. So I'll put some links in the description as well as a link to my cheat sheet and my Excel calculator. I love a reason for doing a new spreadsheet. So that was kind of fun for me. All right, till next time, God bless.